Hey guys, and welcome back. So recently I modified my music control Rofi menu to look like this by adding this progress bar section in the middle. And while it does show how much time has passed since the song started and what portion of the song still remains to be played, it doesn't allow for any kind of interaction, and that's because it's just a part of Rofi's prompt, same as song info above it, rather than an item in Rofi's list that you can interact with, like those buttons at the bottom. Which is perfectly fine because those buttons are what I use the most. So even if the progress bar was interactive, I'm not sure how frequent or if at all I would even use it. But still, I thought that it might be a cool feature to implement and potentially a fun way to teach you some bash in the process. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it a part of this existing menu, and that's because in order to achieve the progress bar look, which I imagine to be a single consecutive line, I would have to remove any spacing between the icons. And also, given the progress bar consists of two parts, so elapsed and remaining portion, I would have to highlight each in a different way in order to differentiate between the two. So that configuration won't work with the way my buttons are currently set, which you can see have quite a bit of spacing between them, and also only a currently selected button gets highlighted. So because of that, I would have to create both new script and also a new configuration file to accompany it. But luckily for us, I won't have to do it from scratch because there are still some elements uh, they share. So cover art and song info will stay the same. Only the part after that will have to be replaced with the progress bar, and also the configuration file would have to make only slight changes to reflect that. So I just wanted to explain this before I get started. And with that being said, let's write some bash. Zoom in a bit. Okay. So as I said, since I will going to base my new script off of or the existing one, let me go there and copy that script. cd or scripts, Rofi scripts, and I will simply cp music controls into music progressbar.sh, and let's open that script. Okay, so let's remove the parts that we don't need from this script. Okay, so this part is dealing with icons, which we will not use, so we can remove this and also this one. This part actually contains Rofi command that I will need to use, granted in a different way, but still I will actually leave this part and change it later. I can remove this. And here this case statement, yeah, that can also be removed since we will not handle selected items in that way, and also this part. And I will change the npc command when we actually I managed to get something from the menu. I'm just trying to say so this part will also be changed, but I think it's quite early to deal with this part yet. Okay, so let me see. I think I'll I don't want to say that most of the work will be done in Arc, but certainly some part will. So I won't go through this upper half because it's basically all it does. Let me open the menu again. So what that part of the code is doing is simply taking the full width, subtracting the padding from both sides, and what's left in between is dividing by the font size so I can get exact number of characters that can fit within that space. So I needed to have exact number of characters that can fit so I can format it correctly. And also in order to align song title and artist that is above, I needed to have the full length so I know how to center the text. So that's the way I was using the width with the current menu, but in the new one, obviously the width would be the width of our progress bar. So we still need it. It's just that we will utilize it in a different way. So that's what this part is doing. So as I said, it's just taking the full width, subtracting padding, and then dividing what's left with the font size. And here we are actually getting that as a L value, L for length. And the next two lines will actually be just the artist and the title. And we are getting those lines from here. So first we will read through a Rofi configuration called cover art, and that's the common configuration used by multiple different configurations that relies on cover art. So I will read the window width and padding and font size from that configuration file. And from those two commands, I will actually get some music information. So this will give us artist and the title. And this one will give us percent time and current time and total time. But for this use case, I don't actually need current and total time because, as I said, since we are already getting the full length, that is kind of what we need um, for our total time. But for elapsed time, let me see if, well, yeah, so basically the percent is telling us what portion of that full length has to be highlighted differently in order to have some visual distinction, what portion of the song has passed and what is yet to come. Okay, so I think we can remove this part because again, we that was mostly for having those current and total time on left and right side of the progress bar respectively. But since we don't use this anymore, so we can get rid of that. Also, so as you can see here, so I was using elapsed and remaining part as the second and the third value. Since we removed those and we are left with only percent value, so we can remove those two. As for this one, we can also replace this whole expression with only L because what it was before, so here I'm subtracting from the full length I'm subtracting the length of those two strings. So the current time on the left and the total time on the right, which would be like 4 characters. So first will be the minute, then the column, and then the number of seconds. So in both cases, it's 4 of them and the spacing in between. And also the one for that like a point between the elapsed and the remaining section. So all that can be removed because we have the full length at our disposal this time, so we don't have to worry about that. Again, remaining part is not necessary because all we need from this is the total width, which we already got from the first portion when we are reading config file, so that will already be calculated for us. And yeah, we need elapsed portion because that is the range that we want to highlight. So that's basically all we need. So we don't need this. We don't need this. I will leave this line because I will need this. Well, actually, I can get it right away and save it in some other register. So let me go here and I can copy this into, let's say, a register, and we can remove this and this line as well. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to make a simple for loop because the way that Rofi is getting its content is through a list, or we need to pass it an input in a list form because each line of that list would be interpreted as a single item. So the easiest example to show you, it's something like this. This is the most basic Rofi form. So this is just the list of applications that I can run, and so our progress bar will be formatted in a horizontal manner because we want to achieve that a single consecutive line look. But still, the way that we need to provide the data to Rofi has to be in a list format. So again, in order to achieve that, I will write a simple for loop that will print each segment of the progress bar in each iteration, but I won't be printing them directly in the loop because I want to use the same loop to actually collect all the segments that have to be highlighted. So what I will do is actually write the loop that will, instead of directly printing those things, it will create two variables so I can control the way those values will be printed. Maybe it sounds confusing as I'm just saying it right now, but as I start coding it, hopefully it will make more sense. So let's jump and start coding. So for elapsed part, I think I will highlight it using active state. And what I mean by that is Rofi, at least to my understanding, has 3 states, maybe more. Like I know only about 3 of them. So one is normal, and again alternate normal, but like that's the same state. It's just the you can think of it as even or odd row index. But that's the regular normal state. There can be also urgent state and active state. Again, maybe there are more of them, but I'm familiar with only those 3. So each of those states can be, well, and I'm not sure if state is the proper term, so if you are more familiar with Rofi, feel free to correct me in the comments. I would like to know what is the correct way to call them. But for for the sake of simplicity, I will just continue calling them states just to get my point across. So all those states can be configured in a different way, and I want to use that in order to highlight that elapsed portion of the progress bar in a different way from the remaining part. So again, I want that elapsed part, and since I will represent the elapsed part with active state, I will actually make a variable called active indices and set it to 0. And that's because regardless of what the progress of the song is, I want it always to start from 0. That has to be its baseline, its default value. And given it starts from 0, so whenever the value is big enough to start iterating over the range, I want after that 0 to start concatenating the rest of the values, meaning the first next value has to be 1 if we want to put it after the 0. Otherwise, like if we start from the 0, we will have 0 and then 0 again, which is not something that I want to do. So, and if you think that the range or length would be shorter because we are starting not from the 0 but from 1, I will actually use less than or equal to rather than just lesser than in our for loop. So I think we won't lose anything on the range value. We will just simply offset the start of the loop. Okay, so let's jump in. So for, and I will call this this variable like progress bar segment, and as I said, I will set it to 1. Then in we want to iterate, as I said, until we reach the length. So not while we are lesser than, but we also want to cover the case when we are at the same value as our length. And in each iteration, we want to increment our length. And okay, so let's handle the elapsed part first. So if our PS is again lesser than or equal to our E value, and E is basically just the value of the elapsed portion. So if the total, let's say, is 10 and we are on like 30%, that means that 30% from 10 would be 3 and our E value would actually be 3. So we want to get those three, like first 3 segments of the progress bar to be highlighted. And if you're not familiar with awk, the way to concatenate strings, to my knowledge, there is no way to use a specific operator to achieve the concatenation, like plus equals. That works perfectly fine for numeric types. So ints and floats can be incremented or decremented in that way. But as far as I know, there is no such operator for strings in awk. So what we have to do is basically just, okay, let me actually type and then I will explain. So AI will be equal to AI and then comma PS. So what this does is setting AI to become what's already in AI plus whatever comes after. So this is basically just a string. So putting the current value of AI, then appending comma, and then our current index. So it can be on the left side as well. It's just it will not append, but it will prepend, I guess, if that's the word. So it will put what you put before your variable name, it will put that before, and then it will append the content, current content of your variable. So it can go both ways. I just wanted to show that. So this part should handle our elapsed portion. And for our progress bar, we want to say PB for progress bar equals then PB. And I want to separate every character by a new line. And now let me put the character that I copied for our progress bar segment. So we will simply create two variables in this loop. First one will hold all the indices that are in our elapsed range, and the other variable will simply hold all segments of the progress bar separated by a new line. So when we print that to the Rofi, it will actually get the list of all those items. So the last part that remains, it's basically just to print AI and then PB. And we also need to read those values. So let me go here and say IFS, which stands for field separator. We want to set that to new line, and we want to set reads the limiter to an empty string, so it will inherit the value that is set using our IFS variable. And what we want to read is, so first line that we will get is our artist. The second line will be title. Then we will get our active indices, so active indices, and the last part would be actual progress bar, so progress bar. Okay, and let's check if that works. So we can go here and let's say, for example, artist and title. Let's exit. So if I open this and say music progress bar, yeah, okay, I'm getting the artist, I'm getting the song, and also I'm getting the padding in order to achieve that aligned format. Okay, and also let's also print active indices just to see if that part also works. So okay, well, judging by this, if we get 14 values and by my estimation the song is right around the middle. I mean, the progress bar is somewhere around the middle. So I think the total length should be somewhere around 30, maybe 29, 30, 31, I'm not sure. But we are not getting the length directly from the awk. So in order to get that, I think it's quite straightforward. All we need to do is count the number of our progress bar segments, because we are already getting our progress bar, but we just need to eliminate all the new lines in between because we don't want that to affect our count. So we can simply say length, and I will use WC command for count, and I will say progress bar. But as I said, we want to get rid of the new line characters so that doesn't affect our count, and that should actually leave us with only progress bar segment characters. So let's see if we print if we will get the right number. Again, judging by this, I think the full length should be somewhere around 30, so let's see. Okay, perfect. That sounds about right. Okay. So let's actually go here and see how to do this. So we want to echo our progress bar to Rofi, and what I want to get in return is basically just a index, because all our items, since they are forming just a straight line, they are just a smaller pieces of the same line. So uh, there is no point of getting the character itself. It's not telling me anything um, about where I am. What does tell me where I am is actually its position or its index. So that's the only thing that I want to get from Rofi. And let's actually keep this in a separate line, because I think since we are not finished yet, I think this line can get quite lengthy. So let's store this as index. And we also have to change some other things. So let's see. Okay, the prompt. Previously, I saved whole output from awk in a single variable, which was prompt. So that's why I said that progress bar and the song info are just part of the same string. It was all basically just saved as a prompt. But this time we are getting artist and the title as a separate strings. So we will have to um, use that to make our prompt variable. So let's say prompt equals, and I will say artist, and I will use the same syntax as before. So I want to use new line, and this way bash will actually interpret \n as a special character, meaning as a new line. So when Rofi gets this string, it will actually put those two parts, artist and the title, into a separate lines. Otherwise, it will basically just print the \n as it was a regular character or sequence of characters without any special meaning. And here we want to put title. So that should take care of our prompt. Okay, so let's see about selected row. Okay, so selected row. What I would like to be selected, so when we open the menu, the position in the progress bar that we will start from, I would like that to be the tip of the active indices. So basically, that that part where elapsed portion ends and where remaining begins. So um, that should basically be the last index in the active indices, right? And so let's say active indices, and that's quite easy to do. So what I want to do is basically remove everything until the last comma, including the last comma. So in order to do that, we can use the parameter expression and do it like this. So what this does is starting from the left, looking for the following pattern, which says everything ending with the comma. So if I were to use only a single hash, it will basically stop after the first time it finds this match. So it would be in our list of comma separated values, it would be basically the first number, 0, and then the comma afterwards, and basically it will stop if we are using only single hash. But with the double hash, it's basically doing the same thing but in a greedy manner. So something like if you are using sad or awk or any regular expression, and you just say, for example, dot asterisk and then comma, so it will basically go all the way until the last comma, and including the last comma. It won't stop only after the first match. So again, the one hash is for only first match, and the double hash is for the greedy, meaning it will go all the way until the last one. So by using it in this way, it will basically remove everything including the last comma, leaving us with only that last value, that last index, which I want to be our starting point. So I want, when we start the menu, that to be the item that will be selected, and we can start moving starting from that line. Okay, so that's for the selected row. What we also need is active. So uh, we want to make active portion. So the way I want to do that is simply by checking so active indices if they contain comma, meaning if there are more values than just 0, because if there is just a 0, I don't want to highlight anything. That means that there is not even one whole segment of the song that has elapsed. So in that case, I don't want to highlight anything. I just want to unset that value so it doesn't have any highlighting. But if it does have comma, meaning it contains multiple values, then I want actually to make some uh, visible changes. And the way I will do that, I will say active equals and then this is Rofi's option for to specify that what's coming is basically a list or just a single value. But basically all the values that are coming after would be treated as active items. So in our configuration, when we have our active state, all those indices that will be provided here, all of them will have those settings applied. So let's go here and say active indices, and I actually want to omit that tip. So let's actually remove that because I don't want the current position to be highlighted. So the way to do that is, so I want to say here that I want all the indices until the last one. So previously I actually removed all the indices until the last one and just keep the last one. This time I want to do the opposite. So I want to remove only the last one and keep everything before that. So in order to do that, I will use the similar syntax. I will use the %sign. That means that search will start from the right, and it uh, when it comes across, if it comes across this pattern, it will actually remove it. So the pattern is comma and then whatever comes after it. And since I'm using a single % sign, that means that it will look for only a single occurrence of this pattern. So it won't continue doing it exhaustively. It will basically stop once it finds it once. So in a very small example, so if we have 0, comma 1, comma 2, and if we start from the right, once we see comma and then any other value, in our case that would be 2. So once it finds comma 2, it will basically remove that and it will give us whatever has left. So that's this part. And as I said, otherwise, if um, if there is only a 0, I want to unset active because I don't want to highlight a zeroed segment of the progress bar. I just in that case I don't want to highlight anything. Okay, so we need to include that as well. So let's say active, and I think I will actually put another break. So let's move this into a different line. And okay, yeah, I almost forgot. So the way the length is important is for two reasons. So one, it's because we will need it in order to calculate exact percentage when we select some position in our progress bar. So that's the first reason. And the other one is that we want to set exact number of items in our list because so let me give you an example. So here you can see there is 5 items in my list, but that's not the whole list. Like if I continue moving down, we can see that there are many different items. But since it can't fit all the items in a single page, it will simply um, divided into multiple different pages. So in this case, I don't want that. I don't want to have to see only a portion of the progress bar and then go to a different page in order to see a remaining part. So in order to avoid that segmentation, I want to be explicit about what is exact length of our list, so exactly how many items our list can fit. That way it won't divide the progress bar. So in order to do that, I will simply say team str, and I choose to call this variable by this name because there is a corresponding Rofi's option called team str that is used to set custom settings in our configuration file. So what I want to do here is basically just use Rofi syntax. So this is for like general menu, not some specific portion like a list view or prompt. Or so this when you start with asterisk, that means that this setting will be applied for a whole menu. So what I want to say here is lines, and I want to set it to length. So that's basically all. And here I want to include that. So p is prompt, and then before team I want to say team str, which again allows us to put some specific settings for the team. And here I want to put our team str variable, so that should be fine. And also here, since we are getting index, we want to check if we get some value for index, because if we press escape, index would be empty and this while loop will stop executing. So as for this portion, I will get back to this in just a second. I just don't want to forget this. So this is using my current configuration file. So let me change this into a new configuration file that I will adjust to format our progress bar in the progress bar manner. So I will call it simply music progress bar. Should be fine. And here, the option that we want to use is called seek, and it will actually lead us to a position that we specify. And how to get this position is simply by, well, we will use the index that we are getting. We want to multiply that by 100% and then simply divide by our limit. Hopefully my math is correct. We'll see soon enough. And instead of executing this command, let's echo it first just to see if value seems correct. But before I start the menu, I actually have to do some adjustment to a config file. So let's actually go to config Rofi, and I will copy music controls to music progress bar, and let's open that file. So this should be quite simple to change, not too many things. Yeah, so I want to, yeah, element text. I want to get rid of the padding because as you can see here, so each item has padding around its icon, which I don't need for the progress bar. And also I don't want to change the font size. I want to keep the size that is in cover art configuration. That size was used to calculate the number of items that we can fit, so I don't want to change that font size. So what we want to change here is yeah, so this is doing it for urgent, but I would rather change that to active because that's what we choose to go with. So let me remove this and paste it here. And instead of urgent, I will say active. I will do the same here. Here, this is for text. Yeah, this should be the same. So let me actually go here and do this. But I want, as for the text, I want to highlight them in a different way. So what I will do is basically this. I will do it like this. Then let's go here and I'll put the hash. Now we can paste this. We can say text color, but we would like a different color for elapsed part. And again, let's change urgent with the active. Go here. So in order to get the correct colors, let's take a look at current buttons. So I would like for remaining part to use this background color, which is a tiny bit brighter than the background of the window. And for the elapsed part, I would basically just use the font color. So here in the selected item, we can see that our font color is this. So I want to use this for our active text color. And I want to use this for my remaining part or for like regular items. Okay, so that should, I guess, do it for coloring. Okay, what we still need to figure out is the way to stylize the current item. But let's actually see how that looks once we open the menu. Okay, so let's go back and finally try to run our menu. So if we run music progress bar, oh, okay, this doesn't look bad. It's kind of what we expected. Okay, yeah, so just have a minor changes regarding the selected item. So currently I don't want it to have this font color. I will change that into just a regular, this brighter font. Background color is fine though. And yeah, I will have to set the same color for the elapsed portion. Okay, shouldn't be too difficult. So let me go back here and let me use this part. I just want to say active here. So for this one, I just want to go with FG and I want to remove this. So will this work? Let's see. Okay, this sounds fine. Oh no, there is nothing. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so should this be like that? Let's see, active, and let's use background color, maybe this. Okay, that seems to be working. And also I think I don't need this anymore. See? Okay, perfect. So now let's just see if our math works. So if I put it here, it's at 63. Okay, so let's estimate. So currently I think we are some around 50%. So let's actually try to go here. Should be around 50. Oh, spot on. Nice. If we go here, it should be somewhere around like 75 or between 70 and 80. 73, awesome. If we go to the beginning, 0 as expected. Go here, should be like 10%. Awesome. If we go all the way to the end, okay, perfect. I think we are good. I think our math is fine. So let's remove this and see if our progress bar is actually changing. So if we move here, nice. We go here, again, awesome. Let's go all the way to the start. It moves, and also you can observe the change here in my status bar. It should reflect the position change. So let's go somewhere around the middle. Yep. Awesome. Awesome. It seems like everything works. So yeah, the only thing I would like to do is maybe uh, make a key binding for this, so I don't have to run it through the command line, but simply just by using my keyboard. So if I go here, I can open my openbox RC file and I can look for music control. Here it is. So yeah, I think that should be, yep, that should be the one. So I can say copying uh, tag. And if I go here and paste this, I want to change this M to P for progress bar. And here, instead of controls, I want to say progress bar. And in order for this to have an effect, I will simply go open box reconfigure. And hopefully now when I press Control Alt and P, we will see our progress bar menu. So let's press something up, I guess it changes song's progress. Okay, cool. So again, I'm not sure how useful that would be. I'm not sure if I will ever use it, but again, I had quite fun making the video, and hopefully I was able to teach you something in the process. If there is something that I didn't explain well, or you would like me to elaborate more, um, feel free to let me know down in the comments. And also, if you have any suggestion, idea, something that you would like me to see doing in some of my next videos, again, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I would be happy to do so. And if you're interested in videos like this one, be sure to tune in, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.